guide on the already established protocols. Good afternoon, everyone. I know when it's afternoon, it's actually evening. It's not a good idea to come in at the end, but I'm going to make it very brief to also give my colleagues an opportunity. As introduced, my name is Agnes Masiwahome, the CEO, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service. This is a body that is charged with the placement of students into universities. We are well known as KUCCPS. We place students to universities and colleges. We also carry out career guidance to schools. These are mainly the public schools in the country. We work with over 11,000 secondary schools. We also advise government on matters of placement, and we provide information on the available programs in our various institutions and colleges. This is through our platform. Currently, we are placing students in over 400 institutions. We have 70 universities. We have 90 KMTCs, that's the latest. We have over 300 TVET institutions. These are all government institutions. We have some within the Ministry of Education, and some are within the other line ministries. In total, we are working with over 18 ministries. We also place students into the teacher training colleges. These are, we have 35 teacher training colleges. These are just the public ones. They still demand that we place students into the private teacher colleges, the private TVET institutions. So you can see our mandate is quite heavy, and we are still getting more and more institutions interested in joining us. What are the main issues that we have been experiencing over the years? We were established in the year 2014. We were established in the year 2014, and we have so far placed almost 2 million students since we were established. Excuse me, I think there's somebody running the presentation. They are a bit behind, so I'll just continue in the interest of time. What are some of the interesting things that we have seen as an institution that we would say make us unique? First, we have had issues of trying to balance gender issues in terms of placement. I think there's a problem with the Sorry, go back, please. Yes, in terms of placement, we look at what influences an applicant's choice to university. We usually look at issues of ranking. We consider merit as the most important aspect when we are placing the students. So we have developed a system within the institution, a computer system, where we rank, once we get the NEC results, we rank all the students depending on the programs they have selected. So once they have been ranked, the last student who is ranked in that program forms what people know as the cutoff, and that always generates a lot of discussion, because they ask, how do you come up with the cutoffs? We do not determine the cutoffs. The number of students placed selecting a program and the available capacities actually determine the cutoff. So we also are looking at the issues of cost of programs. This again came up as a major issue of discussion, because in our portal, one of the things that we are now displaying is the cost of programs. And now we can see the various costs, the different costs that are, that the universities are deciding what they want to charge. And we've had a discussion between the private and the public universities having different costs. Next, please. So in terms of universities, based on the placements, and this is the last placement that we had, the 2024-2025, we can see how the uptake of courses has been per university, the number of students who make applications, the number of students placed, the capacities that have been availed by the institutions. And I know the question here is, why do we have a university like the Kenyatta University not having the number of students placed being 8,000 as opposed to available capacities of 10,000? I know there are discussions, there are always questions in the private universities why this university has more. What I would wish to state there is that the capacities are determined by the universities themselves as a starting point. And then the Commission for University Education, and I'm glad Professor Kuria is here, are the ones who look at the capacities declared, and then based on their criteria, they can say, yes, a university can be able to handle this number and not the other number. So KUCCPS does not determine the capacity. But that capacity, based on the number of students who actually apply for the program, can determine the cutoff. So in a situation, for example, where students do not fill the class, or we have 100 places and only 50 apply, the question is, do we have a cutoff? And the answer is no. In such a program, we do not have cutoffs. Next, please. So we have been looking at the program costs. Again, this is something that we were not displaying before, because though it is in our mandate, we had not put out the programs for, the cost of programs for the various institutions. But from the year 2023, 24, 25, we have been giving the students this information so that as they make their decisions, they are able to see what the cost of programs is. Now you can see the cost of program for the public universities. The programs are costed higher than those in the private universities. In terms of the average, we have an average of 167,260. That was the average in the year 2023. And for the public universities, 237,700. And the price seems to be going up in public universities with the year. So again, this is something that I guess needs some discussion, which should be more, but I leave it there. So next. So in terms of observations, like I said, from 2024, 2025, there's been a significant cost disparities among the programs, particularly the health science programs, medicine and pharmacy and the research programs. We have had significant, differences within the programs themselves, especially in the public universities, and there is need to therefore standardize or just come up with a way that we can look at the tuition fees, particularly in program clusters with significant disparities, that have significant disparities, to ensure that there is some level of, to ensure there is equitable access to education. I wish to note, like we have programs, the art programs generally, we could see a huge disparity between the programs within the public universities. You ask, why should some of the programs in University of Turkana, for example, cost higher than those in University of Nairobi, as an example. So those are some of the things that we have seen. But apart from the presentation, I would also wish to say that in terms of placement, some of the major issues that we have seen in the last 2 years are more students taking up TVET programs. We have had more students going for the medical courses. Those who qualify for universities, we've seen students with C+ and above going for nursing, clinical medicine, teaching. Last week, we had put out advertisements for programs within the law, a diploma in law. Again, we saw most of the students who had applied were those with C+ and above. So there is a general trend of students preferring to take up the TVET or diploma programs in the last 2 years. We still have more students more male students taking up the science programs, more female students going for law and other art programs. And looking at where we are as a country, the population of those going for university or TVET courses is going up. The number of students who actually finish school, that population is really going up. Last year, we had over 960,000 students finishing O-level, that's KCSE, with 246,000 meeting the minimum entry requirements. That means the population of students who are getting into the universities is also going up. The performance of students, those getting C+ and above, again, we notice that has gone up, meaning, again, the population into the universities is likely to go up. The question is, do we have the enough capacity at the universities, at our local universities, to take up all these students? And the answer is yes. We do not have a shortage of capacities. In fact, when we look at the declared capacities, we still have over 100,000 capacities that can be filled. And for me, I think what I would like us to take is that we need to target other curricula, students who are taking other forms of examinations, not just the KCSE. We have the international curriculum, the IGCSE, that we have not targeted yet in terms of encouraging them to take up courses within our local public universities. So that is a direction I would wish that, even as a ministry, we would want to see, because, again, we do not have the data on how many of the students are actually taking the international curriculum. So that is something that I would take as food for thought in terms of placement. And as a conclusion, I would still say that the placement service, KUCCPS, has a platform that can be able to serve as many institutions as possible. We have a lot of pressure to now take on students or institutions that are privately owned, the TVET institutions that we know are over 300,000 that are able to take up our TVET institutions. And just to finish, I would wish to say that the platform that is used at KUCCPS for placement of students is internally developed by our own Kenyan officers. It's not a procured platform. And that just goes to say that we have the right capacity in this country. And that is a platform that also helps institutions to validate that the students they are taking up in their institutions actually meet the minimum requirements that the institutions want. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take my seat. Thank you very much.